Welcome to a windy MetLife Stadium for another primetime AFC East matchup. Breece Hall did not get the memo to wear New York sports logos, considering the Yankees are playing, the Mets are playing, and tonight the New York Jets are taking on the Buffalo Bills here at MetLife Stadium in a couple hours. Quincy Anunua, Eric Allen, Ethan Greenberg here for Pregame Central presented by USVI. Marty Lyons in the house, as always, in the tailgate zone. Look, round of applause. First things first. The Jets have a new head coach in Jeff Ulbrich. The Bills are one game ahead of the Jets in the AFC East. With the win, the Jets could tie the Bills for first place in the division. Marty, what are you expecting from now a Jeff Ulbrich-led New York Jets team tonight in a couple hours?
Well, when I look at Brick, he was a linebacker in college, played linebacker for the 49ers. He's a tough guy. He's going to run the ball. The last 2 weeks, when you look at how many times Aaron had to throw the ball, almost 100 times, got hit 25 times, got sacked 8 times. And when you look at the backfield that the Jets have, it's very hard to believe that they're last in the league in rushing. You've got to change that. You have to have a more balanced offense. And if you want to beat the Buffalo Bills, you beat them up front. Both offensive line, defensive line control the tempo of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point when you talk about balance, right? We've been seeing this Jets defense play so well week in and week out, even the backups, guys that come in, Brandon Ackles, all these different guys coming in playing well, Damian Sherwood. I think when you think about that, hopefully Coach Ulbrich can kind of bring that mentality over to the offensive side, right? Because we're just not seeing these guys really kind of compete and play well. A lot of technical stuff, a lot of guys not playing their part well. Hopefully that's something that he can kind of bring over.
There's Brick talking pregame with ESPN's Adam Schefter. Maybe it's a good omen for the New York Jets that the New York Mets are taking care of business in L.A. right now. They're off to a big lead. This is a big night in New York sports, a huge night for Jeff Ulbrich because you said it, Greens. This is an opportunity for the Jets. After everything that they've been through, here we are in Week 6. They win tonight. They're 3-3. Conversely, on the other side of the coin, if you're the Bills, you're on a 2-game losing streak. You win this game, you would be 4-2, up a couple games in the division.
And like it says right now on the screen, Jeff Ulbrich was hired in 2021 as the Jets defensive coordinator. He started coaching in Seattle in 2011. The Jets under Ulbrich since 2021 had the 7th best defense in the league in that span. The best defense in the NFL since 2022. And remember, the roster from 21 to 22 got a big overhaul, including guys like we saw in the beginning of this show. Breece Hall, one of the picks in that draft. Garrett Wilson was one of the picks. Sauce Gardner as well. And EA, I think really when you take a look at this new New York Jets football team, the talent is there. And like you said, the Bills are scuffling, the Jets are scuffling. But I'm interested to see how Ulbrich puts his thumbprint not only on the defense, but really the offense moving forward and how he splits his time.
Well, yeah, the Jets defensively so far this season leading the league in terms of yards per play. They're basically top 5 in every statistical category on the defensive side of the ball. How is Brick going to manage the game? Because he's still going to be calling defensive plays, and he has a veteran staff. But with that being said, how is he going to manage the clock? How is he going to be watching what the offense is doing, because he does have a new signal caller on that side of the ball as well, Marty?
Yeah, I would agree, but I think that he's fully equipped to be a head coach here in the NFL. I think that he has the staff on the defensive side that's going to pick up any slack that he has, and he's going to take control of the offense. If he's got the headset on and, they got a new offense coordinator in Todd Dowling, if he makes a play, I would think that Jeff is going to say, no, run the ball. Run the ball, pound the ball. And I think you've got to control the tempo of the game. What I've been disappointed in the first 5 games is somehow they leave the locker room and they don't kick it in right away in the first quarter, except against New England. And we all know New England's rebuilding. But the other 4 games, it was what were they lacking in the first quarter? You got to take that enthusiasm, that energy that's in the locker room. When the coaches walk out, the players' responsibility is to get everybody fired up. And then you come out to MetLife and the fans are there. It's going to be electric. But you have to take it from, the stands, put it onto the field, and go out and play every single play.
Well, you mentioned it, Marty. Todd Downing is the new Jets offensive play caller. Todd Downing had a very good offense in Tennessee, specifically in 2021 when he called plays there. We're going to break down what this Jets offense can look like in a couple minutes here. But, Quincy, I'm curious from a player's perspective. Like, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with an in-season head coaching change in your life, whether it's that. Okay, so if you're a player in the locker room, like, what are you thinking or what goes on when, A, there's a coaching change in general, let alone in season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tough situation because a lot of guys really supported Coach Saleh, right? So when you see a guy lose his job, you're always going to feel some type of way. But I think what I really like is Quincy Williams did a great job of focusing on the future, focusing on right now, focus on what we have ahead of us because there's nothing that we can do about the past. Obviously, things didn't go the way they wanted to, but now it's how do we do things better going forward? That's the only way you can kind of operate now. It's always next man mentality, whether it's the coaches or the players.
Make no mistake, Jeff Ulbrich is ready for this opportunity. I mean, if this defense was going to continue this path this season, he was going to get head coaching interviews here during the offseason. But listen, fellas, we've been here for a couple minutes now live on Pregame Central, and we have not discussed the win. We're talking about game planning. The win is going to play a major factor in this ball game tonight. These two guys got legendary arms, Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen, but even those two might have difficulty at times cutting through this.
Yeah, and we're going to break down the win in a minute. Let's actually, before we do that, go inside MetLife Stadium to get the players' reactions to the in-coaching change or the in-season coaching change. Let's hear from Caroline Hendershot.
Yeah, Ethan, with over 20 years of NFL experience in his combined playing and coaching career, the team and the players specifically have the utmost confidence in Jeff Ulbrich in his position and what he is capable of doing as the interim head coach. C.J. Mosley was talking about him, and he said working with him these last 4 years and being so closely working together with him, he has experienced those ups and downs with him, and he just makes you want to play your best for him and put your best product out on the field. Tyler Conklin also spoke and said he's a great man. He commands the room. You have a lot of respect for him, and while he probably didn't want his head coaching job to come in this way, he's excited for that opportunity that Ulbrich gets tonight.
And Tyler Conklin on the screen right now, he's someone that listed as questionable with a hip injury. So we'll see what happens with Tyler Conklin in a little bit. The Inactives come out at the end of Pregame Central presented by USVI at 6:45. Kickoff for Jets-Bills under these primetime lights at 8:15. And EA mentioned it before, the wind. I mean, we've been up here a lot before the show started. We're all trying to brace a little bit for the cold. Marty, you were talking about running the football. But in terms of passing the football, like, is it possible for the Jets or the Bills to pass the football tonight?
Oh, it's possible, especially if the wind's going to be at your back. That's where you have to take advantage of it. I think the wind's going to play a big part in special teams.
Yeah.
When you have to punt the ball, even kickoffs coming down where you have to return it. I think that could be the key with the win tonight. Who wins the special team battle?
Yeah, absolutely. I think ultimately as a receiver, I want them to pass the ball. I think the only thing I have in my own experience was sometimes it will get a little swirly in there. You wouldn't know what direction it was going, which is really challenging for punt returners, right? Because it's already hard to catch a punt. But while you're out there and it's windy, it can be even more a little wild. Maybe Irvin Charles has a big day today, right? Guys kind of trying to find the ball. Irvin Charles gets a big hit. But I think, yes, they need to focus on the run. They've been having to do it this whole season, and they haven't done a good job of it. Today is the perfect day to start.
Both teams want to run the football. Buffalo has totally changed their style offensively because no Stephon Diggs in the lineup. We'll have to see if James Cook is active tonight. But the Bills this year, when they've had success, they've moved the ball on the ground because they don't have a clear number one receiver at the wide receiver position. Khalil Shakir, he's banged up. We'll have to see if he's active tonight. So you're talking about two Bills playmakers that might be in the lineup. They might be inactive.
So with all that being said and knowing that Josh Allen has legs to run, he's a very good rushing quarterback and he's physical, whether James Cook plays or not, do you think that this weather benefits the Jets, Marty, or benefits the Bills more, or is it a push?
I think it's a push because when you look at the Bills, they've got two new safeties.
Yep.
Ed Oliver's not playing. So, you know what I would do? I would take Sherwood, who's had a decent. He's been playing very well since Mosley went down. He's a safety from college. Move him down into the box. Start C.J. Mosley, but you use Sherwood as a spy. And tell him, match up one-on-one with Josh Allen. He goes, you go. He drops back the pass. Just stay there, take away that middle part of the field. And a couple times you hit Josh Allen, a couple times maybe you might pull the ball down and choose not to run. But I think you're going to definitely, at some point of tonight's game, have to put a spy on Josh Allen.
What do you think about the spy approach?
No, I like that, and I like the idea of bringing Sherwood in because we like how he's been playing. So that's a great opportunity to keep him out there. That's a great package. I wonder if they can use that because maybe they could take him out. Maybe Davis, excuse me.
Yep.
He's usually their big nickel. Maybe they could put him in at big nickel as well. I think when you think about the offensive side, right, when you think about, okay, running the ball, that's been the focus. That's what we want to focus on. I would love to see them get their receivers incorporated, right, because then you can kind of do a little play-action passing. That's something we haven't seen a lot of. If they can get that play-action pass game going, then it kind of opens things up a little more.
Marty is right. It is imperative for the Jets. After everything they've been through the last couple weeks, they have to start fast. In prime time, they did start fast against the New England Patriots. That was their most complete performance of the season. Against the Broncos, slow out of the gate. Against the Minnesota Vikings in London, they found themselves losing 17-0. So then you're in this pass-first mentality, and you got Aaron Rodgers dropping back 50-plus times.
Look, Jets-Bills right now or in a couple hours, that's prime time. The next time the Jets are at home is another prime time game on October 31st. So Jets fans, secure your seats for a Halloween showdown at MetLife Stadium on Thursday, October 31st, when the Green and White host C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, presented by Moody's. A limited number of single-game tickets are available at nyjets.com/tickets. Let's go back inside the bowl to MetLife Stadium to check in with Caroline Hendershot and Joe Buck.
Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, Joe Buck joining us with ESPN. Joe, thanks so much for hopping on the show. We appreciate it.
When did it turn into winter
I think
here?
When the Buffalo Bills came to town.
God.
They just brought that Buffalo weather with them.
It's windy. It's cold. I've got a cold. I mean, it's just the perfect combination.
Oh, yeah, it's the perfect storm.
Yes.
I'm sure all the players are feeling it as well.
Yes.
Now, Joe, obviously a very busy week at One Jets Drive for the Jets. What did you learn in those broadcast meetings that you got to talk with some of the players and the coaches about this new interim head coach, Jeff Ulbrich?
I think everybody's excited. Jeff said, I'm excited on one hand. I've got a heavy heart on the other because obviously everybody loved Saleh. For us, as far as talking to head coaches, Robert was great to talk to, but I think they turned the page. And I think, I sensed real optimism. I think they're going to come out and play fast to start this game. I think they're going to try and establish the run and just try to not be so perfect and just go play. And I think there's a little bit of a freeing element to that. Everybody takes ownership in the coaching change, but I sense a lot of optimism, and I think they're going to come out and play really well tonight. I do.
Have you seen mid-season coaching changes really benefit teams in sense of, obviously, game planning, but just kind of the feeling around the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens in every sport because every athlete, if they have any conscience whatsoever, says, oh, man, I mean, even Aaron said it, if I play better, this doesn't happen.
Right.
So I think everybody has to feel that way to some degree. So, yeah, I mean, it happens in hockey. You see it all the time. You see a bounce from a new head coach. I guess NBA, Major League Baseball to some degree. NFL, the history is not that great. Teams are a little bit over 500 first game after a coaching change, but only one team's gotten to the postseason in the Super Bowl era, and that was the 2021 Raiders. So Jets trying to become the second team to do that, and they've got the whole season in front of them in a division that is there to be won. So, again, I think they'll come out and play well, and I know Buffalo's ready to play well. So this should be a really good game tonight.
It should be. Now, also, with some of those changes, Todd Downing getting those play-calling responsibilities, what do you think that will do for the Jets' offense? I know you kind of spoke about it a little bit. They might try to get the run game going tonight. But
he said to us, as did Jeff Ulbrich, quit trying to be perfect, mainly talking to the offensive line. Don't worry about your footwork. Find somebody and go hit them. Find somebody and go get in their way. And just go play fast and just keep moving the line of scrimmage down the field. And I think sometimes simplifying the message has a great effect. So I think if you're going to see a change, it's going to be a team that's got to reestablish Breece Hall. I mean, Buffalo is last in the league defending the run with regard to yards per carry. The Jets are last in the league with regard to rush yards per game. So I guess something's got to give. And I think the Jets feel like this is a night where they can come out and run the ball. And I think take a little bit of the pressure off Aaron Rodgers, which then leads to play action passes and having more success that way. So everything kind of bases off the run game. And I think they have to get that going, and they will.
Yeah. Now, on the other side of the ball, taking on the Bills, what can we expect to see from Josh Allen? He maybe hasn't played like the Josh Allen we've seen as of late the last couple of weeks, struggled a little bit. What do you think's going on there and why he's been struggling?
Well, it doesn't help him that Stephon Diggs is in Houston.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, he's 30, going to be 31 here. But they're eating over $30 million, and he's catching passes for C.J. Stroud. So he misses that one guy that everything plays off of. Khalil Shakir has been their main guy. He's probably better suited to be the second or third receiver. So they miss him. And, the good side for them is Josh hasn't thrown any interceptions. Right. Although he told us, I've thrown some, they just haven't caught him. I think, he's looking for somebody to step up on the outside for him. So, there's at some point here we're going to stop saying it's early.
Right.
And it's starting to get into the meat of the season here. And I think both these teams have some questions to answer tonight.
Now, if James Cook and Khalil Shakir, who are both questionable going into this game, if they both don't play and Ed Oliver doesn't play, what does that game look like for Josh Allen without two of those huge weapons on offense?
Yeah, I mean, it looks less dangerous is what it looks like. They get Taron Johnson back, a good slot corner. So that's on the positive side. We legitimately don't know about Shakir and don't know about Cook. They were both trending the right way when we talked to them yesterday, but it's more wait and see once they get out to the stadium. I mean, Cook is their main back,
right.
So that's a big deal. And Shakir is his top wide-out target. Right now, Kincaid is his favorite guy to throw to, and that's not really how this offense should be set up. So those would be two huge losses if they can't go. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned it earlier. I wanted to touch on it. He hasn't thrown an interception yet, Josh Allen, but he has typically struggled against the Jets specifically. Why do you think that is with the Jets defense?
Well, the Jets defense is good.
Yeah.
And, the secondary is really good, and I think they're well coordinated with Jeff Ulbrich, and I'm anxious to see how they play. I know Jeff's going to call the defense tonight, but now he's the head coach, and he's got to be kept honest on all that stuff. But I think, it's if you're going to struggle against a team, it's not crazy to go, hey, he hasn't played well against the Jets. They're good. And I think in any sport, certain teams have certain guys' number, and maybe the Jets have his number. We did that game last year when Aaron went down, but they won on the punt return, and Allen turned the ball over 4 times with 3 interceptions. So this is a good defense. But the defense so far has been so far ahead of the offense. The offense has got to catch up.
Yeah.
And maybe that starts tonight.
Yeah. Last one for you. Winner of tonight's game gets that position at the top of the AFC East. How much does that factor into how both of these teams are going to be vying for the win tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's a talking point. I think the bigger thing is that they both lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
One team just went through a coaching change. One team just got blown out of the building by Baltimore and then lost on the road in Houston. And so I guess I'm going back on what I said earlier. It is only week 6. It's nice to be in first place. But, you got 12 games to go here, including tonight for these two teams. So a long way to go. But, I mean, first place is better than last place last time I checked. So, and the division, I mean, it's a 2-team race. Miami, right now they don't have a quarterback with Tua being hurt. And I guess they got good news on him today. And New England's in a complete rebuild. So these are the 2 teams that are going to be fighting it out for the division. And when you go head-to-head, that's a game you want to win.
Yeah, awesome. Joe Buck, thank you so much for jumping on. We really
Caroline,
appreciate it.
Awesome, Joe. Great stuff from Caroline as well. And Jets fans, enter for your chance to win the ultimate Halloween treat, including 2 Coaches Club tickets to the Texans and the Jets at MetLife Stadium here on October 31st, presented by Moody's. A legacy black jersey and a football signed by Quincy Williams is at stake. Text Halloween to 26154 to enter now. All right, you're watching Pregame Central presented by USVI. We have a special guest on set. Maybe a little trick or treat early. Anthony Becht rejoins the old stomping grounds here at Pregame Central. Becht, how you doing, man?
Got to get some regulation out here, boys. I had to come back out and say hello. How we doing?
Well, there's no all in or not today. That's in the past. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's an easy victory for me, right?
You've had a lot of victories of late.
Yeah.
How about going to your alma mater on Saturday and Rocco Becht taking down the West Virginia Mountaineers?
Yeah, it was great, man. Not 6-0, 9th in the country, and just playing well. So excited about it, man. It was good to be there. Got into the Hall of Fame. Are you in the Hall of Fame yet, Nebraska? No, I'm saying he will be, but I'm just.
I appreciate it.
It's pretty sweet. It's going to be a good one for you when you do.
I guess your head hasn't gotten any smaller, huh?
No. I mean, I thought it was a couple years too late for me, but I mean, I'll take it. I'm in, so it's all
should have
good.
been there already.
Look, I said it was going to be a trick or treat for Quincy. It was a trick. We'll see what happens when we get to our X Factors. Let's actually go to our X Factors right now. Caroline, as always, we're going to start with you. Where are you going for tonight?
I would love to say welcome back to Anthony Becht. I don't miss him that much because usually he made fun of my coat choice, but I do still miss you, AB. I am going to go with tonight the Bills' health. Now, that was just a flying napkin. I'm going to go with the Bills' health. Now, Ed Oliver is out tonight for sure, but running back James Cook and wide receiver Khalil Shakir were both questionable heading into tonight's game. So those are 2 of Josh Allen's biggest weapons. Now, we just heard Joe Buck on the show earlier saying they were trending in the right direction, but we don't know what their status will be tonight until after they warm up. And then, of course, the inactives come out. But I do want to point out just one stat that I found so interesting. When Khalil Shakir is on the field, Josh Allen's completion percentage is a 70.5. I want to make sure I got that right. And then when he's off the field, it's a 45.3%. Wow. So that's a big difference. So if he's not on the field tonight, you're going to possibly see Josh Allen having a lot more incompletions than you would expect.
Okay, before we get to Quincy's, we're throwing a little bit of a curveball. Not because the Yankees and Mets are playing and not because Anthony Becht is on set, but we're actually going to start with EA, then go to Quincy, then me, and we're going to end with the guest of honor and Anthony Becht.
This is a mindset game. The Jets want to run the football. They have to run the football. They're getting a big piece up front back tonight in Morgan Moses. He brings a leadership intangible to this team, and he also is a mauler in the run game. He is an X factor for me tonight because for the Jets to win, they got to get Breece Hall and Braylon Allen on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm going to go with that same direction with the run game. It's something we've been talking about all show. And I think for me, the reason why they need to do that is because they keep getting into these 3rd and longs, 3rd and unmanageable for them. The defense gets to send all these exotic blitzes. As much as we love Aaron Rodgers taking control of the offense, we want to make it easy on him. 3rd and shorts, right? Make it where he doesn't have to do so much. So I definitely want to see that run game be that X factor, and that change the game for them.
Look, and special teams definitely going to be an X factor. It's not where I'm going. I'm going with Lecky Fotu, the Jets run stopper, or supposed run stopper. We haven't seen him play in the regular season yet. He was activated off of injured reserve a couple hours ago. So we were talking about James Cook. Will he or won't he play? Whether he does or not, you know the Jets are going to want to stop the run. Let's see what Lecky Fotu has to bring to this Jets defense that has been susceptible to the run at times throughout the past couple seasons. Anthony Becht, your X factor.
Yeah, I have Will McDonald and Clemens, the edge rushers, because in this game, Josh Allen, if you watch he's running on the outside, he's getting to the edge. He can run. He can throw it. I mean, the guy will throw it all the way across the field. He has to. I hope he does that today. But you can't let him get out of the pocket today because if he does take off with his legs, he's hard to bring down. He's also kind of a target for a penalty because, you know, he's kind of getting there. Guys got to hit him a little more than they normally do, so you have to be smart when you're attacking him. But keeping him in the pocket, just like Caroline said, Shakir's not out there. He's not a good passer. If he is, he is. But is he still banged up? He was 30% completion percentage last week, guys. That's not real good for an NFL passer. So what's his mindset thinking about, do I got to do more? How's that going to work? I expect them to try to run the ball a lot more in this game, too. So defense is going to have to come up big, but the edge guys for sure.
Yeah, and your point, Josh Allen has his 30% last week, the lowest of his career, only completed 9 passes. And look, if you like Anthony Becht's analysis, we understand it. You can listen to him on Q104.3. It's the new game day broadcast home of the New York Jets. Whether you're home in the car, maybe you're out here tailgating, tune in to Q104.3 for exclusive Jets coverage, including live play-by-play action, expert analysis, and all the game day excitement. Keep it locked to Q104.3, your new radio home of the green and white. And with that being said, we're going to start right where we left off. X Factor, you ended. You're batting leadoff here, Anthony Becht, for tomorrow's headline. It's your debut. We traded all in or not today for tomorrow's headline.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what is your headline?
My headline will be Jets downing the Bull. How about that? That's what I see. Listen, a new voice, a new play caller. I was talking to Todd before the game. I'm like, hey, man, make sure you get the right plays out there because that's going to be so key in the game. That's not the key of the game. The key of the game is executing the plays that get called.
You sound like a coach.
Well, that's just what it is. And I've always been on the player side of that. If we're going to run dive 5 times, block it up, and let's get some yards. So I think for him, getting the play call out quickly, let Aaron Rodgers go, hey, maybe mix in some, tempo stuff. Just let's play faster today instead of giving all this check-in and all this stuff. Aaron's great at that. But at the end of the day, man, sometimes you just got to play ball. Maybe that even confuses the defense a little bit.
Q?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the one that we have written down is a little wordy, but essentially mine is offense rides the wings of the Killer Bees on the road, on the wild Monday Night Football matchup. So why is that, right? I've been talking about the run game all week, right? This is what we want to focus on. The Killer Bees in the backfield. We saw a little bit of both of them back there, and I love that. We haven't really got to see it. Last week they put Garrett Wilson in the backfield. Let's put those guys back there. Let's run the ball down the field, make it easy on Aaron Rodgers.
Clearly never worked for the school paper with that long. That was like a John Gruden offensive play call.
I was seriously playing football, baby. That's it. That was my focus.
My headline is Jets show promise in prime time. Jeff Ulbrich's first game as head coach. You know he's got a ton of support in that locker room. Well-deserved this opportunity. Listen, I think the Jets have to come out with their hair on fire. And Ulbrich is an emotional guy who's always got the best out of his defense. Let's see if everybody can respond, and I think the Jets will.
Yeah, I'm going a similar tone to EA, but I'm just going brick by brick. Jets lay a new foundation where, Becht was playing off Todd Downing, I'll play off Jeff Ulbrich, and I just think that you know what the Jets defense is going to bring. But what I'm interested to see, and this is something that Todd Downing said, he wants to find an offense that emulates who Jeff Ulbrich is as a person, which, as you can see from just listening to him, you can sense that he wants to be physical up front. And you think about what he said appealed to Todd Downing in Tennessee when he was game planning against Todd Downing. You're talking about a physical rushing attack, obviously led by Derrick Henry. We talked about Breece Hall. The Jets are last in the league in rushing, going up against a team that's last in the league in yards per carry. So I think we'll see what happens here in a couple hours, but in a couple minutes, it is currently 6:43 and 6:45. The Inactives come out here on Pregame Central, presented by USBI. Anthony, we were talking about guys who are questionable. Tyler Conklin being one of them. James Cook and Khalil Shakir on the Bill side. Who are you looking at specifically, whether that's from a Jets perspective or a Bills perspective?
I think the Bills have problems if Cook and Shakir don't play. And they already have Oliver down. And I think since 2022, I read their 2 worst defensive performances were the 2 games he missed. And one of them was last week. So, I think those are the 2 guys they lean on. I don't think they even have a number 1 receiver. Joe Buck said it. I agree with them. Keon Coleman is going to be a good player. He's not ready for that yet. He had a nice play. He caught a hitch, made a guy miss, scored a touchdown. Other than that, he's been a non-factor. James Cook has been the offense for these guys. So if he's not on the field, he's the difference maker to me. And if he's not, and they haven't used the tight ends really the last 2 weeks. Those guys have not been involved. Kincaid's going to have to get the rock in this game. Historically, our defense has been okay versus tight ends, but they have been killers sometimes when they played against us.
Well, breaking news, Ian Rappaport and the NFL Network crew said James Cook, sources tell him, will be out tonight. Wow. So that means Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, and maybe you can see the writing on the wall here because of the practice squad moves for Buffalo, bringing up a running back. And for the Jets inactives, now that it's 6:45, we can go with them. So with that being said, here they are. Carter Warren, Max Mitchell, Izzy Abanaconda, Braden McGregor, Malachi Corley, Jarek Bernard Converse, and Michael Carter II, which means that Tyler Conklin is, in fact, active for the green and white. And their practice squad moves. Anthony Ferkser up, Jalen Mills up. And before we go, Caroline said she got hit in the face with a napkin earlier. We have, I think, a replay of Caroline. It's slow-mo, too. This is, there.
That's amazing.
Oh, boy.
That really did happen.
Can someone send me that clip?
Yo, did you plant that?
I mean, if she wouldn't let me bust her chops about her jacket, then I surely had somebody throw a napkin.
I think Becht put that up there on screen. But, look, we don't know what that means for tonight, but we're glad you tuned in here to Jets Pregame Central presented by USVI. Make sure to tune in to Jets Overtime with these two, EA and Quincy Noon 1. Make sure to tune into the game tonight. We'll see you post-game.